Hey folks, JG here, CEO of Visture Property Management and Visture Property Group, and recently I did this pretty awesome speaking engagement. I spend a lot of time educating real estate investors from actually around the globe on how to get the most out of their portfolios, how to get the best return on investment, how to manage their properties with excellence. I do a lot of this. I spend probably half of my time public speaking. And I recently did this particular session on how to do a rent-ready renovation, which means how do you take your unit and make it rent-ready? How do you upgrade? How do you take your renter profile and increase it if that's what you want to do? You know, if you know your place needs some love, it needs some TLC, what do you do and how do you even go about it? How do you plan it out properly so that you're not wasting money, but rather you are properly investing this money so it provides you a good and adequate return on investment and at the same time saves you headache and also attracts a better renter profile, also rents your place faster for top dollar and overall appreciates your property. How do you do this? We are going to cut now to that session where for 30 some odd minutes, I'm going to go in depth on exactly how to do this. After you watch this, folks, if you have questions, we'd be happy to help you at Visture Property Group and Visture Property Management. Take a look and see what you think. Let's jump in. So why does renovating make sense? Why does renovating to rent make sense specifically? Because it's different than renovating for profit. It's different than fix and flip. It's different than fix, flip, and refi. This is renovating to rent. Why does it make sense? Well, let's talk about this. Number one is improving your renter profile. One of the very, very interesting ways of improving your renter profile, and probably the best way to improve your renter profile is to renovate. And you'll see that as we go forward. I'll talk about renter profile in a minute, but if you are currently dealing in the low income space, or you're dealing in a space that is below your standards and you want to raise that standard, renovations is the way to get you there. There are things you have to watch out for, which we'll talk about, but improving your renter profile is the number one, is a good reason to renovate. Secondly, higher rents and higher property value. I will show you a case study at the masterclass. Unfortunately, I don't have time tonight, but I'll show you a case study at the masterclass where I took a $1,100 a month was this apartment. I'm now renting that same apartment for $2,100 a month. Okay, $1,000 a month more. Now, is that a bit of a ridiculous example? Yes and no. I've done that many times, but you can actually increase your rent $300, $400, $500 a month, depending on your renter profile. Higher rents and higher property values. Second reason you want to renovate. Third reason, and probably the biggest unsung hero, competition. Your ability to compete. Now, having a renovated, awesome apartment in a great market, in a good market, and I'll classify that as Ontario, I'll classify that as BC. These are tight, low vacancy markets. To have a newly renovated, beautiful, modern apartment in those markets is good. It's fantastic. It's awesome. But if you go into a place like Alberta, for example, where the market's a little bit tougher, the best way to compete is to have the best possible apartment. So in those tougher markets, and Ontario and BC, don't think your luck's not going to change. Eventually, you're going to go through a tougher market again. If you want to compete, the way to compete is to have a nice, beautiful, renovated product, okay? Next is less turnover. And this is the last thing I'm going to talk about in terms of why you should renovate, but less turnover. Turnover, folks, is our biggest cost. After principal and interest, turnover is our biggest cost on any P&L, profit and loss. If you have 1 month of turnover, it could mean the difference between profit or loss. You have 2 months of turnover, I guarantee you're probably losing money. Guarantee it. So if you can avoid less turnover, if you can decrease your turnover, it's huge. So this is why you must consider renovating. And I'm actually going to show you at the end of this presentation how you can actually renovate for free. If that's of interest, just put it in the chat. Is that of interest? Should I talk about that or should I skip that part? Renovate for free. Okay. I'll skip it. I'm just going to share it with Trish. She's the only, and Spring, and Vanessa, and share. Okay, I'll share it with all of you. All right. Now, when we talk renovation, most people start at the wrong place. They start at the wrong spot in the renovation. You think renovation, you immediately jump to like the stuff you love, which is whether it's materials, whether it's design, whatever it is that you love about renovations, and some of us love different things about renovation, you're going to start there, which is the wrong place to start. You have to start with a game plan design. And let me show you what that means. That means first and foremost that you need to review your renter profile, and you need to do a renter profile analysis. Now, in my business at Visture Property Group, there are 4 renter profiles that I deal with. The low income profile, the lifer profile, that's what I call them, lifers. They're going to stay in your units forever, for life. They're going to rent forever. They're lifers. Then you have the premium product and you have the luxury product. These are the 4 kind of categories. This is how I categorize my rentals. This isn't the category for everybody. It's just my categories. And it's a great way. Now, if you have a low income product and you want to bring it to a premium standard, or if you have a lifer product, you want to bring it to a luxury product, whatever the case may be, you have to analyze where your renter profile currently is, and you have to analyze where you could take it to. Now, how do you do that? Well, you have to do what I call max rent research. And what max rent research is you do research on Rent Faster and Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace and Rent Board and all of the various ILSs that you do, and you look to see what is the maximum amount you think you can get for this. Not the average, the maximum. And I want you to compare the following things. Number 1, materials. What kind of material? So let's just I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say you currently have a 3-bedroom apartment. It rents for $1,500. And you know that you can increase, you can take it to a premium product, and you might be able to get, you think, $1,900 for that. So you do some research and you're looking for materials. Those $1,900 3-bedroom apartments, what kind of materials do they have? What kind of countertops do they have? What kind of floors do they have? What kind of trim do they have? What kind of cabinets do they have? What kind of amenities do they have? What kind of appliances do they have? Do they have stainless steel? Do they have white? Are they new, or how new, what's the age of them? All of these materials conversations is the first question. The second question is the location. Probably one of the biggest challenges and biggest mistakes you can make is to try to take one of your apartments and try to go too high in the renter profile. I'll give you an example. Let's just say you have an apartment it's a low income right now, let's just say, and you're trying to take it to a luxury product. Well, first of all, that's a hell of a jump. To go from a low income tenant to a luxury product is a hell of a jump, first and foremost. Second of all, can the location handle it? If yes, great. If no, and the answer is probably no, by the way, but if yes, great. If no, then you have to consider, don't try to make a luxury product out of something that is a location that can't handle a luxury product. And a lot of us run into these challenges where you might want a premium or a luxury product, but your location doesn't offer that. It's possible. Take a look at that. Very, very important for you to keep an eye on your location. And your third and foremost is your amenities. What is around? What is the amenities near your rentals? How close is the cocaine shop? I mean Tim Hortons. I'm talking about Tim Hortons. Okay. How close is the Starbucks? How close is Tim Hortons? How close is the grocery store, the trail, the walking trail, the park, the LRT, the bus? All these various questions, you have to consider the amenities within the proximity of the location. And once you do that research, then you'll have a good idea of how far you can push the market. Okay. Then I want you to create a test ad and to test higher than the highest you see. So if you see, for example, I'll give you an example. I just rented today a 4-bedroom, what is this? A 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. It's in a duplex, and great. It's not a premium product. No way. It's not a low income. It's a lifer product. Okay. and the top rent of that unit in that area was about 1750 roughly. So the product was probably a 1750, 1795, 1800. Okay, we started advertising that product in 1995. We ended up renting it for 1970 or 1975, I think. So now the way to test the market is to put out test ads higher than the highest, okay, to see what the actual appetite is. And you should do this before you renovate. This will tell you how far you can push the market, okay? So that's the game plan design. You must do this before you start picking out fixtures, and before you start picking out paint colors, and before you start picking out trim and picking up the flooring and all that stuff. Make sure you run these ghost ads, I call them test ads, and drive towards this max rent research. Once you have that info, you go to the next phase of your project, which is to make data-driven decisions. What does that mean? Well, making data-driven decisions means that you're looking at the numbers, okay? What's your old rent? Say $13.50 in this example. What's your new rent? $16.95. How much investment do you need in order to go get that $16.95? In this case, $15,000. What's my return on investment for the in this case, 24.6%. That's on a cash-on-cash basis. How did I figure that out? Let me break it down. $16.95 minus $13.50, okay? That times 12 divided by 15,000 is my return on investment in this case, okay? But this is only the beginning of the story. Do not let this be the entire story. This is just the beginning, because you really got to consider the better tenant, the improved property value, the appraisal, less turnover, renting it faster, renting it for top dollar. All of this leads to the renovation process. So make data-driven decisions and let your budget be driven by what you think you could rent it for, not your emotions. Cool? Don't let your emotions drive the budget. Let the data drive the budget. Does this make sense? Am I onto something here? Yes? No? Okay. Now there's a couple things that impact this, okay? And it's the following three things. Number one, if you're going to refinance your property, this impacts your project. Because if you're going to refi, then you have to consider what the appraisal is going to be. And then if it was my project, if I'm about to refinance, I would definitely go more aggressive on the renovation, because I'll be able to take most of my money, if not all of my money, if not more than all of my money, out of the project right away. So if you're going to refinance, that impacts this project, number one. Number two, if you're going to sell this property, it impacts the project, because it's no longer a renovate to rent project. It's now a fix and flip project. So keep that in mind. And number three, if you're planning to fully gut the project in 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, that also should impact your decision. And we've seen this happen before, where you're like, I have a project right now that requires a rent-ready renovation. I need to go in there. I need to tune it up. I need to bring it up to max rent. But I also know that I'm actually going to destroy the building. I'm actually going to throw it down and rebuild in 3 years. That is on my mind. I mean, that is impacting how I'm going to do my renovation, because I know whatever money I put into it, I'm going to gut it in 3 years altogether. So this is really, really interesting. Keep these factors in mind when you're doing your budgeting and when you're doing your planning for your rent-ready renovation. Okay, let's get to the pro tips. And I'm speeding through this because I'm trying desperately to be on time tonight. Trying desperately. Okay, let's get into pro tips. Number one. Thank you, Ruth. Number one, okay, cleaning. Now, I know this isn't renovation related, but you have to consider, before you start tearing stuff apart, consider how much it's going to cost to professionally clean it. And I'm not talking about cleaning like the cleaning that we all do between tenants. I'm talking about a real deep professional cleaning, real deep carpet cleaning, washing walls. I'm talking about super deep cleaning that we don't typically do on a regular basis, because I've seen paint jobs that were going to cost $4,000 be saved because a professional cleaner was able to go in and clean the walls and totally brighten them up. And that saved $4,000. The cleaner charged me $500. I've seen this happen time and time again. So before you start ripping stuff out and before you go to the renovation stage, consider the cleaning. It could save you a whack load of dough. Okay, that's number one. The other thing, actually, on professional cleaning will double the life of your renovation. Let me repeat that. Professional cleaning will double the life of your renovation. So if you renovate a rent-ready renovation, if you pay, like I will pay, my property management company will pay to professionally clean the apartments between tenants. In that time, I'm extending the value, I'm extending the life of my renovation typically by double. So something that would last me 3 to 5 years ends up lasting me 7 to 10 years because I'm cleaning between every tenant and I'm taking real good care of it. So that's also worth it. Keep that in mind. Next pro tip, patch and paint. Paint is the number one ROI renovation we can all do, okay? You're all gonna paint, there's no doubt about it. There's 2 tips here that I want you to keep in mind. Number one, if you do a bunch of renovation and you don't paint, you're cheating yourself, okay? So what I do not want you to do is I do not want you to like change the cupboards and change the counters and change the floor, and then you're out of money and you don't paint. Don't do that. Not a wise move, okay? I'd rather you not change something, but also paint, assuming the paint needs it, okay? But you can't go invest in a good renovation and then leave crappy paint. That just doesn't happen. I've seen this way too often. So keep enough money to paint. And one of the ways to decrease your budget on the paint is actually to do what I call patch and paint. If you have a great painter who you know does a great job, but they might be more expensive than you'd like to pay, you can actually do the patching yourself. A good chunk of the paint budget is the patching part. Now, I'm talking about all the little holes in the wall and all the little, the where they put up the pictures and they left this little pinhole, or they left a screw in the wall and that's got to be removed and patched and puttied and all that stuff. This kind of patching doesn't require rocket science, okay? It's not very difficult, and I would certainly not recommend that you fully, mud and tape your own apartment, but I do recommend that you patch your own apartment if you want, and if you're tight on budget. It's a good way for you to decrease your paint budget significantly, like almost by a third sometime, and you could do some of that work yourself or hire a low, cheaper labor to do it. Here's an example of what I mean. Where's this picture? Right here. And this is actually a pretty significant patch and paint, as you can see. There was lots to do. This is something that a lot of you can do. Now, when it comes to painting, if you're also going to paint and if your budget allows, I want you to consider trim. Sometimes for a trim is less than $1 a linear foot, okay? If you get 3.5-inch MDF, where's my camera? Do you see it? Let me turn right here. You see this trim right here? That's 3.5-inch MDF trim, less than $1 a linear foot. That means the average window will cost you under $30, and the average apartment typically has somewhere between 4 and 7 windows. That means you could retrim all of your windows for $100 to $150. If you're gonna paint, this is an amazing way for you to totally spruce up your place, make it modern, make it hip, and get rid of that old trim, that old cheap builder trim that a lot of you have in your apartments, or that old wooden trim that was really popular in the 80s, for example. You get rid of all that stuff, and for literally $100, $150, you can put all brand new trim, and it looks incredible. It's very, very modern, okay? So highly recommend that as well. Yeah, for sure. You can also, David, great point. Again, based on your, what I like to do and what I love about that 3.5-inch MDF trim is I use it for windows, I use it on baseboards, and I use it around doors. I use the exact same trim for all of it. And I could usually retrim an entire apartment for about $500. Pretty cool. If you're gonna paint, I always do that if I'm going to paint. Now, caveat, red light, a warning, warning, warning. If you're not going to paint, don't replace the trim, okay? Because that's it. You've seen this happen where you take a piece of trim off and you end up ripping off half the paint on the wall because of the caulking. So just be very careful of this, okay? Great point, David. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, bathroom essentials. Here's what to do in the bathrooms. This is a rent-ready renovation. Now, you're going to notice as I go through the rest of this, folks, I will not be recommending specific materials. The reason for this is because I want you to let your renter profile guide the materials. It's not my job to tell you what materials you should put in here. Whether you should put granite countertops or quartz countertops or a premium countertop or a wooden countertop. Let your renter profile determine the materials you use. But let me give you some essentials in the bathroom. Number one, vanities. You can get a great, depending on your renter profile, you can get great vanities for 75 bucks. This vanity here I got for 75 bucks. One of my apartments really needed a new vanity. 75 bucks. It's a steal of a deal. Great investment of time. The other thing is taps. David Maxwell put in a link in the chat. I have a supplier in Montreal. They have these great gnarly wicked taps like this here, for example. They're a great feature piece and they're incredibly affordable. This tap I think is 120, 130 bucks, but it's a real standout in the bathroom. And if you want to, again, you're trying to if you're trying to improve your renter profile, then it could be something to do. There's some from 100 bucks, 150 bucks to 200 bucks. Could be a great way for you to totally spruce up your bathroom, okay? The second most important part of the bathroom, second, not the first, I'll tell you the first and the second. The second most important part of the bathroom is mirrors. Mirrors. Please get rid of your crappy mirrors in your bathrooms and put up some good stuff, because the ladies and the men, I was reminded yesterday, the ladies and the men love to look at themselves. So you want to put up good mirrors, and you can get a beautiful, I have one in actually one of my bathrooms here at the office. It is I think it's 33 inches by 40 inches. And it's just a beautiful slab of glass that you put right on the wall. I think it's $59, okay, from Home Depot. Incredibly affordable, and it's huge, it's big, and people love to look at themselves. Everyone has to do a better job of putting better mirrors in their renovations. That's the second most important part, but the most important part is the lighting. A lot of people, their bathrooms are dark. Their bathrooms have the wrong type of lights in them. So there are two types of lights. I wish I could turn my camera around right now in my office. I have my pot lights are daylight, so they're bright white daylight, and my accent lights are warm and more of a yellowish tint, right? In your bathrooms, you want clear, white, bright lights so people can really see themselves. They can do their makeup. It actually, believe it or not, and I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but it's true, is the bright white lights, like sconce lights is a good example. The type of light, when they flood the light over your face, they will actually, and you're gonna think I'm crazy, please don't laugh at me, but it's so true, they will hide wrinkles. How do you think people feel when you hide their wrinkles? How do you think people feel in your apartment? They love you. They think it's great. So you wanna do a better job of lighting. Natasha, you're laughing at me. Okay, yes, correct, Keith. That's how I get my hair so nice. So bright white lighting, very, very important. Now, let me keep going because I'm running behind. Lighting essentials. Number one, I'll tell you what not to do straight out of the gate. If you have any of these, there's a specific name for them. I don't want to say it, right? Someone could put it in the chat and then I'll repeat it. But these lights here, you want to get rid of these at all costs. Okay, boob lights. Thank you, Natasha. Boob lights, get rid of these damn things at all costs, okay? Every builder in the 80s and 90s and even in the early 2000s, I think they still kind of use these, some of them. Get rid of these damn things. They're horrible. They provide shitty light. They're no good to look at. They're not fashionable. They're terrible. Get rid of them. Install a nice flush mount light like this. This is a Moonraker from Costco, incredibly affordable. Great product. This is what I recommend. David Maxwell just put a link in the chat. That app, instead of Moonrakers, I'm now buying these Amazon lights. I think they're 59 bucks. And you can actually have 3 different light settings within your light, either a white light, a yellow light, like a white light, and then they have a yellow light, so a warm light, and then there's one in the middle, so that people can actually adjust the type of light they get in their living space based on the time of day. For example, at night, you don't want a real bright white light at night. Not in your bedroom. Not in your bedroom. In your bedroom and in your living space, you actually want a nice warm light, especially at night. This light that David Maxwell put in the chat allows you to change the light. Pretty cool stuff. Gonna talk. Okay, chandeliers in your kitchens and over your islands. The one on the right hand side there. The one on the left is a custom deal I got done, which is cool. It's an old barn door track I got done. Pretty cool. On the right hand side, that light comes from Home Depot. I think it was 80 or 90 bucks. It's an incredible pendant light. When these things go on sale, I stock up, and that's what you should do as well. You know you're going to end up putting them in your rental, so just stock up. I store them in my storage locker, and it's a fantastic. Yeah, that's right. I usually buy all the lights, David. You're right about that. But over the kitchen island, over the dining room table, you need to have a feature piece, a nice light. You do not want to put a flush mount there like a Moonraker or a boob light. You want to put a nice quality light, okay? Kitchen essentials. I got to go quick. Number 1, does anybody have a kitchen like this in their rental? Anybody have any kitchens like this? I love that, Trish. For a while there, people were putting in these kind of maple hardwood kitchens. And if it's part of your cottage look, then great, good for you. But a lot of people for some time thought, I'm going to put in a hardwood kitchen because I'm just going to repaint it all the time. That trend is pretty much gone. You want a nice white quality kitchen that you can actually replace the doors on. That's what's important. You want to be able to replace the doors, replace the hardware. You don't want to have to repaint it. You just want to replace the damn door. These kitchens are easy to clean, and I know that it's a bit counterintuitive. You think it's white, it's going to get dirty. It's actually not the case. If your cleaner will do a great job with a magic eraser, they'll make that puppy shine. This is the way to go, okay? That's with regards to the kitchen. Number 2, so if you're doing a rent-ready renovation, you can, if you have the budget, you can replace the entire kitchen. If you don't have the budget, you can replace the following 3 things and save a whack load of dough. This kitchen here is somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000, okay? If you don't have that kind of budget to do that, then you might want to replace just the counters. If the cupboards are okay, just replace the counters. A counter like this counter here would cost you about $350 to $450 bucks. Number 2, you can replace just the hardware on the doors, just the hardware. Or you can replace the counters and the hardware. And the third thing you could do is put a backsplash. Okay, so you can replace this entire kitchen for $4,000 to $5,000, or you can do just the counters for $350 to $450. The hardware is probably about $200 on these doors, and the backsplash is this backsplash would be about $400. So you could replace the whole thing for $4,000 to $5,000, or you could replace the counters, the hardware, and the backsplash for $800, $900. Big savings, but can still have a big effect. This is something you got to consider, okay? Let me keep going past this and finish. Oh, sinks, that's the other one. Let me show you this. Sinks. Changing a sink can change everything. If you have an old sink like this with the 2 stages, with the crappy nozzle, you can change this sink. This black sink with black faucet is about $350, and it'll completely transform your kitchen. It'll make it so that's something to consider is the sink. There's your example of a hardware change. And last but certainly not least is lighting. Lighting in a kitchen should be bright white. Lighting in a bathroom should be bright white. Lighting in a bedroom should be nice warm yellow. Lighting in a living room should be nice warm yellow. Preferably on dimmers. That's the other thing. My gosh, folks, please add dimmers. Please add dimmers to your spaces. It's a huge premium feature. Costs you $20 for the switch. You can install it yourself. Well, I'm not sure I should say that because it is electrical. Anyways, I install them myself, and I ain't no electrician, so I'll just leave it at that. But if you do a better job with lighting, it could totally transform the space. Last but certainly not least, yes, okay, dimmer in the bathroom is awesome. Why is it awesome? Let me ask you, why is a dimmer in the bathroom awesome? Kathleen nailed it. That 2 a.m. bathroom run, you got to go to the restroom, you turn on all the lights, it's bright, you can't see, then the next night you decide I'm not going to turn on the lights. That doesn't turn out well. You missed the toilet. Never mind, too much information. Let me move on. Okay. Outdoor essentials. Why am I not seeing laughter after that great joke? I thought that was a good joke right there. But anyways, let me keep going. Outdoor essentials, and I'll finish on this. So the outdoor essentials is the new unsung hero. And it used to be an unsung hero. It is going to become a huge advantage for you, which is when we think of outdoor essentials, we think of retaining walls. We think of grass. We think of gardens. We think of all these various things when we think of outdoor essentials. The new thing with renovations now is going to be outdoor space, because of what happened with what COVID has brought us to, and what COVID has had us go through is, even if you have a small apartment with a small balcony, you need to create a space for your people to hang out outside. They are terrified of another lockdown. They want a place to hang out outside. If you have a little balcony, make it a space. Like, this is a great example. This balcony is literally like 4 feet by 6 feet. It's tiny, but they put up this really cool thing for you to have lunch out there and enjoy a beer. Amazing idea. I love that. Okay. That's number one. Number two, if you have a bigger space to deal with, you need to start thinking about an outside space as an outside event area, because that's how your tenants are thinking about it. They're thinking about inviting mom over and dad over and grandma over and grandpa over, and they don't want them to come in the house necessarily. They want to host an event outside. Now, we're heading into winter, and I understand that has its own issues, but just keep this in mind as you plan your spring renovation projects next year. The outdoor space is really, really critical going forward, because it's no longer just about the tenants outside. It's now think about COVID and the impact this has had on them and their outside space. So the outside essentials has 3 new layers that we have to consider, okay? Folks, you can get your renovation for free because your suppliers will finance it for you. Let me tell you what I mean. You get a Home Depot card, right? They offer 18 months free financing, 0 interest, 0 payments for 18 months. You do a renovation, call it like a rent-ready renovation will cost you somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000. Usually, I'm giving you rough numbers, okay? Let's just say the rent-ready renovation costs you $5,000, okay? You have 18 months to pay for that renovation, over $5,000. How much is that per month? What's the number? Someone help me out here. I can't math on the fly right now. Okay, someone's gonna put it in the chat. 300-ish. Okay, so it's about $300 a month for your rent-ready renovation. Your Home Depot finances the bulk of this. It won't finance all of it, but it'll finance the bulk of this, and you'll be able to raise your rent $300, $400, $200, $150, whatever you're able to raise your rent. You can literally self-finance this renovation over the course of 12, 18 months for free on behalf of your suppliers. I'm using Home Depot as an example because I've done it. I've actually financed, guys, entire gut renos, $200,000 this way. I'm not recommending that, okay? But you can easily do it with a smaller reno, something at $5,000 or $10,000, and you could, based on your max rent, and that's why you should run the numbers and make data-driven decisions. The suppliers will actually fully finance the reno for you. So run the numbers and see if it works for you. If you have any questions on this, I'm happy to show you the numbers another time, but this is a really cool tip. All right, folks, so what do you think? Pretty cool stuff, right? I mean, the information is powerful, and this is totally achievable. Now, renovations are 2 things. They're 4 things, sorry, 4 things. They're exciting. They're overwhelming. They are scary. They are straight up scary, and a lot of us don't know where to start.
The good news is if you're watching this video, it means you're a client, most likely of Visture Property Group and Visture Property Management. And if you're not, you probably should be. So what I'd like to invite you to consider is, let us help you with your renovation. Visture Property Management is not a construction company. We do not do renovations for hire. This is not what we do, but we do help our clients. We do help our property management clients, and we can help you with your renovation, assuming you're a Visture Property Management client. So be happy to talk with you. We'd be happy to meet with you. We'd be happy to show you what we can do with your particular apartment. If that's of interest, let us know how we can help you, how we can be of service. Our job at Visture Property Management is to manage your property with excellence and to provide you with a better return on investment and less hassle. We don't want you dealing with tenants or toilets. That's our job. We want you to live the life of your dreams. We want you to live a richer life on your terms without tenants and toilet problems. So folks, let us know how we can help, and we're always there. Please reach out to us, sales@visture.ca, and we'll be happy to set up a meeting and work with you. Thanks, and thanks for watching.